Welcome to the Tiling Connect podcast. This podcast is designed to raise the standards of the tiling industry by sourcing and sharing the best and latest in standards, technology, and innovation with its listeners. Before we get started, everything we talk about in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your own personal situation. You should always seek professional advice for any specific matters.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tiling Connect. I'm your host, Mark Moskwa. In today's episode, we're speaking with Tim Dawson, founder and CEO of Lauxes Grates. Established in 2010, Lauxes Grates is a market-leading indoor and outdoor drainage solutions manufacturer. The business has rapidly grown over the past decade and is now stocked by more than 2,100 resellers across local and international building markets. Tim is truly a remarkable person, ranked number 60 by Business News Australia's exclusive Top 100 Young Entrepreneurs list of 2020. He's very passionate about his business and the building industry. Tim attributes much of his success to innovating products and investing time and resources into developing his team and community. Hello, Tim.
Hey. G'day, Mark.
Hey, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Welcome to Tiling Connect podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Pretty excited, actually, to have you on today. Given some things that we've spoken about recently and the history of Lauxes Grates, and I'm pretty sure that there's some very exciting stuff to talk about today to share with our wider community as well. So should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've got plenty to share, that's for sure.
Excellent. We love sharing. Well, Tim Dawson from Lauxes Grates. I think the best place for us to kick off today would be for you to give us a little bit of background on yourself and Lauxes Grates. However, before we do that, I'll have to make note of this because it's a recent acquisition. Lauxes Grates took out another award. Is that right? Was it Outstanding Workplace Award, I think?
That's correct, yeah.
Wow.
Outstanding Workplace Award, yeah.
And that was like super recently, right?
Yeah, it was on Friday night. So, I had the community I've involved myself with the last 10 years in business for mentoring and the programs that have been going through, recognised our business or Lauxes Grates as an outstanding workplace based on all the things that we do and the culture that we've created within this organisation. So, pretty humbling to get that sort of recognition still after this many years.
Absolutely.
It's another milestone for us.
Beautiful. And you received, I think I read somewhere that you received also a stewardship award for your contribution to, I believe they call it the linear grade industry. Is that am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. So the stewardship award, I guess if you look at business as a bit of a mountain, of all the different things you need at every level and every summit as you work up a mountain, as we all climb the business mountain. I believe, we're at that summit point where we're the industry leader of what we do, and we're looking to give that industry knowledge out there and we have an audience now that really is tuned in and listening in what's going on. So to be awarded that in this industry it's a bit surreal, to be honest. Obviously we'll talk about through the podcast, but I didn't really envision that this is where I'd be. I wanted to be here, but I didn't envision what it would look like when we got here. So
wow.
I'm quite grateful for everything that sort of happened along the journey. And I feel we're just getting warmed up. So
that's
plenty
cool,
still to come.
Yeah, well, look, congratulations, and I'm sure I'll probably say that a few times throughout this podcast because I've done quite a bit of research on your company and your journey. So I think it's probably best for us to dial back and start from the beginning and have a look at if you're happy to share with us a little
Sure.
As much as you like about Lauxes Grates and about your journey and the business journey and how it's transformed over the decade.
Look, I've really come from a trade and construction background, and I've worked many different sectors from building, electrical, gyp rocking, you name it. I've pretty much had a crack at it.
Yeah,
so in my understanding and my mateship and fellowship around in the construction industry has given me insight to what works, what doesn't work. And this journey of 14 years ago when I embarked on heading overseas to actually understand where a lot of product that is available in the Australian market, where it comes from. And to my despise, I realized that, there is some, really crappy products that are coming into Australia that are just chucked into a container, sent to Australia. We've been forced to purchase them and use them on projects which no one really is really trying to upsell to you, or they're backing it or supporting it, and just seems to be a lot of garbage. And it's quite upsetting that this was a trend. And I'm starting, I saw so many products that it was difficult to install. It was absolute no one had actually thought about how it goes together. It's like IKEA furniture, the comes with instructions, but you're still left with 30,000 bolts at the end of that of putting that cabinet together, or whatever you're putting together from there.
Exactly.
Why is it made so difficult?
Yes.
And and at the end of the day, it used to even bother me that I'd take a beautiful light fitting or a fitting of some sort. I've purchased it. I'd take that to the homeowner to go and install into their property, and then they would complain it was no good and too expensive. And it's like, well, you go and buy something that looks good and it's not expensive, and then I'll put it in. And every time you come across that particular product, and it wasn't meant for the Australian market, it wasn't meant to be put up where they wanted to put that product up. When we talk light fitting, so these little things really irked me and frustrated me. So why that journey overseas to understand who is making this stuff, who is giving them the instructions to create, develop, and produce this product. And and that's where the whirlwind started. So leaning over there with a whole heap of ideas and concepts, working with manufacturers to tweak, change, re-engineer a lot of the product that we were dealing with here in Australia, and then starting to produce some of the best quality product I'd ever seen.
Wow.
I guess really quickly, in a very short spout, in those first couple of years, I had 1,100 different products. I was selling lighting products, toiletry products, fencing products. I had a lot of range of different things. So going a million miles an hour, trying to sell a lot of product to anyone that I could come in contact with. So for retail, directly to the trade, and through wholesale.
Right.
And what I learned in that journey, and it was discouraging to try to do everything for everyone, because we just can't be the master of something if we're trying to be a bit of everything to every person. So through that journey, I scaled things back into a few key line products that I invented. Didn't really give it much time, didn't really give it much thought. And one of those items was the linear grate. Fast forwarding till now, it is the only thing I sell. I don't sell anything but a linear grate. So that's a bit of I guess, an intro to how I got into the game, why I got into the game. And then now I've got obviously a lot to share in between, the learnings and where we're going, what we're doing, and what does it all look like now?
Absolutely.
From a company point of view. So,
and it's interesting. The one thing that I picked up on there was that you were sort of trying to be everything to everybody with a number of different products, and you were learning too, right? So it was trying to throw like they throw paper balls at a chalkboard to see which one sticks. And how when with linear grates, how did that become the standout product from everything that you had done?
So the concept around the grate itself, and like most products that I developed, was how can I make this easier for it to install it? How can I have people like trades that use it get home to their families on time? By not having. I remember so many different moments, that it took me longer than I expected to put something in or do something or install something. I miss my kids going to bed, and I didn't get home and my dinner was cold and I had to heat it up in the microwave, and I thought, this it'd be so good if there was product out there that just damn worked when you pulled it out of the box and used it. So having this in mind, a lot of the products, I wanted to speed the installation up, so people could get home quicker. So as I started thinking how it would become quicker was an easier, with different mechanisms, how we use it. So, we look at the linear grate, it was a product that wasn't very manipulable. It was rigid, it was fixed, didn't really suit every standard. There was no customization in it. And it was made of a product that was very hard to manipulate. So, coming up with the concept of, how about using another material or a metal that is easier to manipulate, being able to cut it, drill it, and the flexibility of that, it just worked.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
the more feedback I got from different industry, from people in the industry saying that, hey, this is the issue that we've got. I order it, and then the customization side of it was taking too long, took 2 weeks, but I need it tomorrow.
Yes.
So how can I speed that up? So they'll just putting up with whatever was on the shelf, and then relocating pipes and digging up concrete and, cutting out floor joists and all sorts of stuff to make it work, and again, timely, costly, just unnecessary. And then at the end of the day, you'd put this thing in, you'd work your butt off to be able to put it all together. And then the homeowner or the builder would come through and go, mate, that's garbage. I don't like it. Rip it out. So, you're like, I can't, it's done, it's finished. How am I going to rip this out?
Exactly.
So, how do I have a product, that works for the trade? Certainly the way I purchase it, that a tradie will purchase it. How does it then, you're comfortable with moving forward on that product, and it saves timelines on the job, as well as, a retail customer then standing back and going, oh, wow, you've done an amazing job. This looks fantastic. Thank you. And honoring that trade for the hard work that they've put in. We see that quite regularly now, that we're not getting that recognition for the hard work that the trades are putting out there. Some of these guys are working ridiculous hours in this current format, in this current climate around Australia. There's some big hours being put in to finish projects and jobs on time. And I think they're getting unrecognised for some of the hard work that they're doing. So
absolutely.
How about all working together? How about being that supply chain, that supply company that can actually make their job a little bit easier?
Look, I love it. Sorry, you go. No, you go.
And one last thing that I forgot to sort of mention, but if all that worked and that was just the advantage, it would be a huge tick, and you'd probably take that concept on. But what also happened is, using alternative materials that comes at a different cost. So, from a costing point of view, there was value in it. It was like, hey, this is more affordable, easier, looks better, all these sorts of things. Like a lot of people, hence one of the things I'd like to talk about is how difficult it was to enter the market with it, because people thought something was wrong with it because of that, because of some of those reasons.
Look, was it sort of one of those products at the time where it seemed too good to be true, where people were like, wow, this just can't be real. Like, it just can't be this good. It can't be this easy. It can't save me this much money, surely.
Yeah, most definitely. And so it was difficult to enter the market with it, because of those reasons, or some majority of those reasons. So we had to deshackle that stigma around it. That no, it's just been thought out for a change. I know it's quite foreign for a lot of products, and I'd like to think that over the last 10 years, people have put a little bit more time into the design and suitable more for the Australian market. I think I see a lot of tools that are coming out now that are a lot more suited to our climate and how we use them, which is exciting. And certainly a lot of apparatus in the tiling game. 10 years ago there wasn't too many clip systems around either to help tilers get large format tiles down flat and straight. So there's been an evolution, which is really exciting. So I'm all for that, making the job easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I loved that part. I loved all of that you've just said. And one thing that I picked up on passionately was where you were looking at a whole bunch of different products, and you were looking for a problem to solve, and then you ended up down the Grate path, and that's where you are today. So it's really interesting. A lot of people in that entrepreneurial space, or that CEO space, or that business leader space, are always looking for problems to solve, and that's where generally great things can start and evolve into something even more fantastic. So thanks for sharing. Really, really cool. Fast forward to today, the business was established in 2010, I believe, as it Lauxes Products initially.
Yes.
And obviously there's been a big journey between 2010 and 12, so we're talking just a little bit over a decade. What's some of the big things that have occurred for your business over that time?
Some of the big highlight moments, certainly going from 1,100 odd products when we started Lauxes Products and scaling it down to one. Let me tell you, that's pretty damn daunting. to make that transition. 7.5 years ago, actually, we decided that, hey, because we're not selling all these other products, why are we selling to retail and trying to sell to trade and sell to wholesale? Let's just pick a particular avenue how we'll move this product throughout the market. So we culled off all trade and retail customers. So we don't deal directly with any of those companies anymore, or customers. It's all wholesale and strictly wholesale only. Okay. So supporting these wholesale businesses, to engage with their customers, engage with their trades, and use their unique selling propositions to have them come and purchase off them a second or third or a fourth time. Yeah. Right. So working with them, and that's been difficult. A lot of people don't understand why we do it that way. There's a lot of reasons why I do it that way. It's to be in the supportive, it's to be supportive. Yes. Is not to just cut someone out or cut a corner when it's easy to. Obviously, if I sell directly to trade, it would be a lot more margin and better profiting for our business. But look, I've made a particular way, and that's what I stick by, and I stand by that.
And you've got, I think I remember reading, you've got around about 1,600 resellers locally and internationally. Is that sort of a fair number to mention?
It's continuing to climb. So what we worked out the other day, there was a few in the system that didn't really add up to what our original number was. So currently we're looking at 2,100 stores throughout Australia and New Zealand, and now we're selling over 7 different countries around the world, which all have their different supply chain sizes attached to them as well. So it certainly is it's certainly a world-class product, but now we've taken it to a world stage, and certainly getting the recognition for it. That's for sure.
Good on you, man. That's brilliant work. That's really cool. That's very cool. Tell me, I also read earlier a little bit about Watermark certification, and I'm very much a novice when it comes to understanding Watermark certification. There's not a lot that I do know about it, and I'm down for being educated around it. How does that impact your product, and how does it impact your product in the market from a sales and development perspective?
So Watermark is controlled by the Australian board. So it is a requirement to have anything to do with the plumbing circuit or plumbing sector to have this certification. So this particular certification is a license aspect, and should be installed by a licensed plumber. Which I find very interesting, that the 99% of the tilers in Australia install product that is a licensed Watermark product. It's something I haven't been able to get my head around, or work with authorities to actually have any of that changed. So there's less ambiguity in the industry why people can and can't install it. At the end of the day, tilers do install this product. It's something where it is a grey area through the Australian code. There are very strict requirements to what type of product can be watermarked and where it should be installed. I guess our journey over the last 12 years has been educating a market that wasn't as educated, how to install it, what sizing, the falls and outlet sizing, all this sort of stuff has become an education process for us to help and guide the people that are installing it, the tiling trade that do put this product in.
Yeah, right.
So it's been a huge insight. It's a huge learn curve for me.
Yeah.
To actually see it's how we do it.
Yeah.
It's how Australians are doing it. Even though that, if you get to a particular project and you said, here, you throw a tile grate to a plumber and said, you install it, he would turn around and throw it back at you and go, no, it's a tiler's job.
Yeah.
Even though he knows that it falls under his code.
Yeah.
Sorry
to interrupt. I even imagined that there wouldn't probably be a plumber on site at that particular point in the game anyway, because the tilers are a finishing trade and the plumbers have already done their work, so they're out of there. So getting them back there would probably be the first part of the hurdle.
Yeah. So it's the product sits in a grey area from an install perspective, but you can't be excused. A tiler can't just go and put something in that doesn't meet the plumbing code. Yes. So we're looking at educating the market around what's required when you are installing a wastewater product that is licensed under that particular that standard. and that standard, is got some heavy requirements. Whether it be the type of material, whether it be the load that it can take, whether it be the dimensional parameters of it, as well as the flow rate of the product as well. So there's lots of things that have to be tested. Watermark has a strict standard that each batch of product that you produce is inspected by a certifier each year. So it has yearly factory inspections on all the product, making sure that it upholds the highest of standards that Australia demand. And Australia have got some of the highest standards in the world when it comes to plumbing products. We are the benchmark. We just don't like poisoning people with water passing through a product that's no good. So hence there's more and more effort being put around the education of this as well. And we'll see that over the next 10 years, that more people will be educated around that to understand what can be done and what can't be done.
What differences are you finding in the local market here in Australia versus some of the international markets that you're now selling into? Are the Watermark certification and or trades different in the other markets?
Yeah, the other markets are having different requirements. Most countries have their own particular certification. And then some just don't have any cert mark at all. It's just the manufacturing cert marks that they have. So, going through each process for each country and to have a product that fits into their standard has been, it's certainly challenging and expensive. So it's a huge learning curve for us to understand what's required, what changes we have to make to the product to suit their market.
Yes.
But that's all part of the challenge.
Part of the fun, as I call it in business.
Fun. Some see challenges as fun, which I do, but then certainly others see challenges as a negative. But we love a challenge.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Tell me more about your company. Tell me about your people. Tell me about your product. Tell me about your people. Tell me about your product, and tell me why a tradesperson, whether they be a builder, tile, or a plumber, would select a Lauxes grate versus a competitive grate.
Yeah, quite a bit to talk about from a team and cultural point of view. So I'll try to keep it sharp. From a development of product, we're predominantly a product business, and now just a great company. So pardon the pun, but Grate was just a product that we actually sell, but I wanted to be an actual great company. I wanted a company that people would look at and go, oh wow, I want to do things like they do. I want to have people like they have. So when I embarked on this journey, I realized that I couldn't do all this by myself. So I need like-minded people. I need people around me that filled in positions that I didn't do that well. From my background, I'm not a success story. I've had a hell of a lot more failures than I've had success in the past. So how do I get people on board that that we all help each other rise to the occasion, all rise to the challenges, thrive off these challenges that were coming at us thick and fast through the journey. And what I realized a couple of years ago that I've got a pretty remarkable world-class product that's been created, but I think my best creation yet has been the development of the team. The type of culture I've created, the way that people engage with us, the way that we engage with others, the camaraderie, just the love that everyone has for each other. It's just an amazing thing. And by sharing common goals, the meetups that we have, that everything that I do within the organization, it is very family orientated, but it's a corporate business. And I think the distinct difference there is corporate. It's to be expected that everyone doesn't get along, and that you don't help each other out, and you hold your cards close to your chest. And then on a family business, everyone knows everything, and there's all these issues and concerns. Well, I wanted to shackle the stigma of that as well and go, hey, we can have a corporate business. We act corporate, we are corporate, but we can have a family orientation. So most addressing for people in this business is we are one, we are a family. We look after each other first and foremost, and then we go on our way to help others out as well. Yeah. And that journey's taken a few people on a huge roller coaster. from different challenges that they've faced, internally in the business and externally. So we don't exclude any of that. We spend an eighth of our life working together. I want that part to be enjoyable, and hopefully have that influence on the other eighth of their waking life. As we know, the other third is, or the other third of our life is asleep.
Yeah,
most people. But that the other third of their life, a lot of people can't explain what that is, what they do, and what's going. Anything that happens for them in that time. So if we can make a conscious effort to better their life or well-rounded, I think that's just the attraction now. And there's lots of little perks that we do to engage these people to want to be in this business. And I'm certainly drawing inspiration from some large organizations that I think that do this really well.
Yeah.
So from a cultural point, it will never stop. We'll continue to develop and grow that. And I think it's the strongest asset of this business, apart from the Grate.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Is there what's one particular thing that you look for in a new person who's considering joining the business? Is there
Sure.
They call them golden nuggets or gems or see what would that be for you?
The best one for us, and it's funny because every single person in the business, I including myself, have never sold Grate before moving into this Grate business. How many people are coming out of another Grate company and then wanting to work with us? So majority of the people, we're looking at 99% of who's working within our organization have never worked with Grates before. They don't know what it is. So a high aspect of ours, it's not the skill, it's about the attitude.
Yeah.
What sort of attitude you're bringing, and though the alignment of that attitude towards the company's core values. So the company core values are so aligned and so present within the organization that we can, I guess, smell out what's going on through that three-stage interview process that we go through to make sure that they're already aligned and they're ready with a good attitude to learn everything they need to know. And we're prepared to teach that along the way as well. So it's not coming in with this high skill set saying, I sold $1 million worth of this product at this store and I can do this and I can do that. It's not about big note. It's about coming in and working from the ground up. Like most people in this business, when I had myself and a team of 3 12 years ago to 50 strong now in Australia, every single person has just grown and developed and learnt through the business. So some of the key personnel, head of departments, they've come from the start. They've worked their way up through the ranks, and their understanding, their acknowledgement, their self, the development that they've had, it's just second to none. So people can see that. They can see themselves doing something similar as a journey for them as well as they come in. And I'll continue to lead, guide and mentor them all the way through their business career. I think that's, I guess, sort of sums up what you're saying.
No, look, that's awesome. It's really awesome to have that sort of platform in a business where people can begin from, a point in time and develop their careers for, over whether it be a 5 or a 10-year journey, and grow with the business and evolve with the business as it's kicking milestones or kicking goals, as people would say it. So that's fantastic.
Certainly has its challenges. A lot of say, trying to catch a running train. I feel like we're trying to grow and rebuild a plane while it's flying is probably the best analogy I've used. This thing, or even a rocket ship, as it's shooting towards the moon, we're rebuilding it. We're recalibrating it. We're extending things. We're constantly adjusting it as it's flying through orbit. So, and like most businesses, all have their challenges. That's the challenge that we face. So how do you catch that as people are coming on board? They've got to get up to speed quicker than what we've ever had before. So training modules and all the stuff that we've implemented is making people win. Win at life, not just in business.
Yeah, and you can, if for anybody listening to the podcast today, you can get on obviously through just some various platforms on social media, whether it be LinkedIn or some of the other platforms, and you can see just through some of the information shared by you and your team, just how much innovation, passion, enthusiasm there is in the business, and it's there for everyone to see. So I completely am picking up what you're putting down. So that's it's very cool to hear it from the man himself. So it's great. Moving on just ever so briefly into the industry, what would you say is some of the more significant challenges that the industry or the building and construction industry is facing today? It can be a broad question, or it can be generally in specifically in your sector.
I think at the moment we're looking at a slowdown in profession. And I think everyone talks about that in the current form. We have this large onus to get a lot of stuff done, but not enough people to do it.
Yeah.
And and I see that real struggle. I certainly see the tile industry being affected by that, and I've noticed that through how many tech talks or how many training days we've had with younger people in the industry. So in its early stages of trying to move this product into a market, it was very an older demographic of tilers that stuck in their ways. This is how we do it. We've been doing it for 20 years. Kid, don't tell me how to do things. Don't tell me how to tile or what I should be using to tile. So, after shackling that off and going, okay, cool, they actually listen and they see that it's easier when I'm trying to get them home to eat their dinner, so it's not cold. All these little things that they actually started to get it. They started to see that, oh, hang on, this is handy. And same with the stores. The stores are like, no, we don't sell Grate. We don't sell it. You don't sell it yet. But wait till the demand's that high that you need to have it, to keep your customers in your business.
Yeah.
And that's that point that we started, the demand, we continue to drive the demand through the awareness, the training, obviously the innovation of the products, getting it better and better and better. And people, more and more people wanted it, and the demand just continued to rise. It's great that we're seeing the product move so well, and I'm super humbled by how well it's in the market now, but there's still a lack of trade out there to continue the demand that's there for the construction industry. And that saying goes across all trades at the moment, across multiple different sectors. It's unfortunate that the new millennial doesn't want to get as much into the trade as others did.
Absolutely. I'm
pre-2000 pre-2000 years.
Yeah. Look, I'm seeing that across. Yeah, you're right. I'm seeing that across multiple sectors, with many conversations across different people in different fields, and it's acquiring new talent and or encouraging, whether it be encouraging the younger generation to be more involved in the industry is certainly a very, very big challenge, because we have got such a broad skill shortage across a number of different trades, and there needs to be a strategy to try and get more people involved.
And if I could speak from my experience going through an apprenticeship, multiple apprenticeships actually, so I've got 3 trades under my belt before I entered this business. The experience that I had working with different trades, they weren't as willing to teach the younger generation how to do it. We were just told how to do things. It wasn't taught to me. And I certainly learned the hard way. I'd make multiple mistakes before I was told to rectify it and do it again. So, if there was a way that I learned, and what I've done in this business is, I don't take it for granted because you're a tiler, you know how to tile. Because you're a plumber, you know how to plumb. Because you're a sparky, you know how to wire stuff up. You just don't. I don't take that. The whole business doesn't take that as a given. We'll educate you, whether it's no question's a dumb question. Ask us something and we'll help you get the answer and get you to where you want to go. So taking that sort of responsibility on, has had us a lot more people reach out to us. We're nothing short of 300 phone calls a day, of coming through the head office, asking for, whether it be an order, whether it be how do we do stuff? Where do I get more information from? Where can I purchase your product from? So we've got this, we call it, on the back end, we call it the helpline. But I'm so glad that we've got that many people calling in, wanting to us guide them through their experience with the product, but also in other areas as well on jobs. I just wish there was a lot more people out there that would take a little bit more time to breed the next layer. the next layer of trades and the next people coming through, rather than the experience that I had. And I don't know if I'm only one person that had that experience, but across the 3 different trades I did, that experience was all the same. So if you wanted to learn something, you had to go and do it in your own time. It certainly wasn't on the job.
Yeah.
So I've readapted that in my organization to make sure that everyone gets what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Awesome, man. Well done. Well done. Tim, I read earlier the business has received 19 awards since 2016. It's probably 20 or 21 now. So it's been an enormous. So many accolades for the hard work that everyone's done. You and your team. You're the sponsor of Gold Coast Titans. They're building some solid platforms for future growth. And they're recruiting some great stars now too, which is excellent. What does the future look like for Lauxes Grates?
So Lauxes, at this particular point, with the products that we currently take into the market, the team size that we have, the sponsorship agreements, arrangements, the accolades, that just continue to come in, which, I'm so humbled by. I think, we just got to head down, bum up, doing what we need to do, listening, taking on the feedback through our customers, through the trade, through our wholesale network that we're supplying to, and all, as they continue to fuel us to do more things, it's just spreading this product, worldwide. It's to understand that we have a lot of good ideas, and to implement those ideas right around the world is a mean feat. So I think that's what we're from that point, we're taking that on over the next 10 years. You'll certainly see, multiple outlets and distribution centers and head offices popping up right around the world. And from an Australian market, you'll see us continue to innovate, develop, and supply product to the market that the market demands. Not what I want, what the market needs. If the market needs a purple coloured grate, then bet your bottom dollar that we'll have that out and supplying the market that for them. So all our feedback has been brought through the trade, through the training days, through our feedback through it. We take feedback quite positively and seriously. So it helps develop where we go and what's next.
Fantastic, mate. Just before we wrap up today, and I want to firstly thank you for your time. And how can our audience get in touch with Lauxes Grates or yourself if they wanted to reach out?
So we've got quite a few different ways for the obviously Tim Dawson through LinkedIn to keep up with the business side of the network, what's going on personally within the business. Try to keep that updated as much as possible. But with Lauxes Grates, through all the social channels, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok. People are now TikToking grates. Something I think is pretty damn foreign to me. Definitely didn't come from the electronic era, come from more of the industrial era. But for the engagement that we're getting through social media channels is just phenomenal. People are putting pride behind the work they do now, and putting it out there for people actually to see what they do. It's quite humbling, rewarding. I commend anyone that's doing it. It takes guts to throw out your best work and have other people scrutinize and comment on it. But I tell you what, the level of tiling in Australia now, the level of tiling that I've seen, the quality that's happening is by far the most superior finishes in the whole entire world. I've traveled the world to see a lot of tiling. And someone that's from out of industry, prior to doing this particular product, I'm pretty humbled to say that we do some pretty good things and some pretty quality stuff here in Australia. Awesome. So I think we'll be put more on a world stage in the future to how the rest of the world does it. They'll be copying and following us.
Tim Dawson, Lauxes Grates, thanks so much for today. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Tiling Connect podcast. If you'd like to hear more, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions or would like to be involved in the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. See you next episode. Until then, stay connected.